What's up, guys? It's Cece.
Hey y'all, Johnny here.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. So, yesterday I did a poll on my Instagram asking if you guys wanted to hear our love story, and 90% said yes. There were 10% haters. You were one of them. So, we're gonna do it! Woohoo! There was some discrepancy about who shot the first shot.
From who?
From you!
Oh,
You said
so-
you shot it first. But I think it was a mutual thing.
So she has a discrepancy
No. I think we have a discrepancy.
because you have one.
So, Johnny came to Iowa State and he knows my friend Brandon. Now, shout out to Brandon because he's the reason why we're together. We probably wouldn't have met if it wasn't for Brandon.
So that's our friend?
That's our friend. Sorry, our friend.
I just need us to know that that's both of our friends,
Okay.
not just
It's
her.
a mutual friend.
Hey, Brandon.
Brandon came to me and told me that he and his friend Johnny wanted to start a gospel choir and wanted to know if I was interested. And I was like, yeah, cool. So I gave him my email. And then I get an email from somebody who signed Johnny. Now, for some reason, I'm thinking Johnny is a girl. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So it wasn't until months later I met Johnny and realized, oh, this is a male.
Brandon had just kind of a get together for folks to meet and mingle, and I think he cooked, which will always bring me out. That brought me out, and we just all kind of just collectively came together, which is something that we just regularly did to build community with one another as we were all just trying to get through school,
Being black in
Being
Iowa.
and being on a predominantly white campus. Brandon invited folks over, and Cece was late to the party. She had a rehearsal.
I had a tech rehearsal, which it was like 9 hours. Our performance was, I think, the next week. So I was there all day. I wasn't even going to come to the dinner. But something told me, like, Cece, just go. Like, you might meet the one. Now, it was such a far out idea, but I was like, whatever, I'll go. I'll bring my little wine, you know. Let me go to the party.
When she did show up, I think I answered the door
Yes.
when
you
she
did.
knocked on the door. We didn't know who it was. I didn't know who it was at the time either, but it was Cece, so I answered the door. I don't remember if I spoke when you answered the door.
You did. When he opened the door, he said, "Oh, you weren't who I was who I was expecting." Like, basically, like, oh, I thought she was somebody else.
So that's how she took that.
That's how I took it.
But I think Brandon told me that it was somebody else that was going to be at the door. So when I went and answered the door, I expected it to be the person that he had said. So I just outwardly stated, "Oh, okay, it's not. You not who Brandon said was going to be at the door."
So out the bat, I'm like, dang, like, oh, okay.
Taking offense without
I already took offense.
understanding,
Yeah.
which is interesting. But we all came together then and just started eating and just talking and getting to know people. So we're eating and getting to know each other, and I start asking like just more about CC. I'm a pretty, I would say I'm an extroverted introvert. Like, I know how to have a good time when I'm with people, but I'm a very homey, and I really like to be to myself and stay low key most of the time. But when I'm out and about, I know how to, engage people well. So I was just asking folks like, what are they doing? I asked Cece like, just things about her, and she began to tell me more about her. And she began to tell me about her involvement with dance, and we started to connect with dance. Dance was the thing that connected us, and I started to tell her that, I also have a affinity for dance, and I happen to do my own like choreography and stuff.
Right. So I I gave him my Instagram, and he liked every single one of my pictures. As I was sitting there, I'm just looking like, okay. But I'm used to, casually scrolling through his page and seeing that he's a dancer. And I'm like, oh, okay, you dance. Like, when somebody tells me they dance, I'm like, oh, okay. He probably just okay. Him, different story. I was like, oh, he's really, really good. And we kind of just talked the rest of the night. He seemed like a pretty cool person. We actually have a clip from the first night we met, so I'm going to insert this here. Hey. Gotta put that alpha sign in there.
One time, we'll see.
Wait, can we?
Well, we leave the dinner, and that was that. He didn't ask for my number. We just exchanged Instagram, so that was all that it was to it, basically.
I think that and even with us exchanging information, it was from the intent of dance too.
Yes.
Because Cece saw my work. She was a part of a few dance organizations on campus, and one of them happened to be a predominantly hip hop style group. She was like, "Look, I'm trying to train. Your choreo is dope."
Right.
So it was, I think, pretty platonic connection. Like, we didn't. What I would say for me personally, I didn't initially say, "Oh, okay, I need to connect with this girl so I can, shoot a shot." That was not my initial.
No, that wasn't my initial. I feel like
that was not my initial goal in connecting with her on social media. I didn't feel flirty.
No, it wasn't like a flirtation.
I was not in her face.
No,
I'm not that type of I don't approach people that type of way. I feel like things naturally occur, and then you go from there. That wasn't my intent from the beginning. I think the intent was, okay, this is somebody who looked like me, who's from where I'm from. We both from, South Side Chicago.
Our parents live 15 minutes from each other.
If that, so
barely.
They're on, our folks are very close to each other, and automatically, like, I felt like we would have a decent relationship because we were connected through somebody who is very important to both of us in Brandon. And so that was where my mind was at just going into it. I think we got through the evening or whatever, and we just had a naturally building good vibe with each other.
Yeah.
Right? And I felt like that was something worth exploring further. And so I think this is where discrepancy comes from.
The very next day, so I'm an athletic trainer, and at the time I was working with track, and I remember I was at like my rotation, and I'm like, let me hit this guy up because he's such a good dancer. I really want to train under him. So I started my little Instagram DM. I'm like, hey, it's Cece. It was so nice meeting you. I really want to train under you. Like, I swear that was all the message said. I'm getting ready to press send, and I get a notification, and it's from him. He was like, it was really nice meeting you. I forgot to get your number last night. And I was like, okay. So then I messaged him. I said, wow, I was really about to send you the same message. Not the number part, but just saying, like, I really want to train under you. Like, that's how I, like, slid in. Like, hey, I want to train under you, but I also want to get to know you better.
She had an intent to get to know me beyond that.
I did, but I wanted to hide it under, like, I really want to train under you.
And I felt like that was mutual. I'm not going to say that it was more so one person over the other. I think we both liked the vibe that was created, and we wanted to continue to build upon that.
Right.
For whatever it was going to be.
Right.
And for me, at that point, it wasn't I didn't have lofty goals like, okay, this is going to be the one, or this is going to be my wife, or this is going to be my girlfriend even. I said, if at the most, this can be somebody who I can legit be cool with, I can legit have a decent relationship with, and there's nothing
more to it.
Nothing more to that,
yeah.
Right? So I think that was important too, not to have a hidden agenda, behind my approach, because honestly, I was not looking for no relationship at that time.
I wasn't either.
So that wasn't and we've spoken about this. That wasn't in our plan, right? It just kind of grew to be what it was as we got to know each other more. When I shot my message was to get her contact information. I'm like, look, I meant to get your number, but we skipped out. Things will happen. I would like to have it, right? I still didn't say, I want to be with you.
Right.
That wasn't what it was. I don't think that was a developing thing. I wanted to know, could that become something? Was the potential of that there later as we started to communicate more directly? However, I will say, I don't feel bad about sliding in the DMs. I did it, and that's what it was, and I think something great came from it.
Right.
So, if you see something and you want it,
shoot your shot.
All 2020, we did have a spark. I felt like we had a good vibe, and Cece was somebody who I felt like I liked being around without it having to be anything else.
Yeah.
Right? Without it having to be flat out, without it having to be a conquest of sorts. We had a decent vibe with each other, and it was enjoyable. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Right? This is, one, different from my prior experiences. This is something that is newer for me, that I want to explore, and I'm in a different place in my life, right? I'm a newly minted college grad. I had just graduated from undergrad, and I didn't want to be on undergrad games, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, okay, I'm on my own now. I'm doing my own thing. I want to move about accordingly, and I want to connect with people that's on that same path, that's on the same wavelength, doing their own thing. And I felt like that was good. And that was good, a good space to be in, to be dating, right? I wasn't dependent upon anybody else, and I wasn't dependent upon another person for me to distract me from what I was doing in my life at that time.
Yeah. So
a good relationship could only add to, for me, what God was already doing in my life. I had already been getting blessed to be an angel at that point. And I felt like if you were going to add to it, that if Cece was going to add to that, we was going to have it.
Right.
Right? But if she wasn't going to be a part of it.
Right.
And I think that's a strong message to whoever watching this. Right? If they're not going to add to where you're going.
Yep.
Right? And also know that where you already are at on your own. Right? That's a journey in and of itself. And that doesn't have to slow down or stop or be derailed because you choose to be in a relationship with somebody. In fact, it should be propelled. Cece has been one of my biggest, greatest, most significant support system in my life. And that's something that's been vital for me at this phase of my life.
Right. You said it really well. Wow, I'm shocked. That's how we met. That's our origin story. And from there, I mean, we're 3 years later, still going strong. Oh, yeah.
Period.
So, yeah, we just wanted to hop on here and do a quick video. Maybe we'll do another video about, like, our first date, because that was...
Y'all have to tell us if y'all want to know about it, or we won't do it.
No, I think y'all need to know.
Do another video to talk about the first date. It is wild. We're not gonna let Cece do me in this regard, but we're gonna talk about it. So remember, not today, Satan.
Not today, Satan.
Period.
Love you.
Love you too.